All right, everyone. Hey, it's Gordon here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I want to thank everyone who's here, who's watching for the first time, who's watching on the replay. Now, if you are here for the very first time, if you could do me a huge favor, just type a one in the comment so we can acknowledge you for being here. And if you like, please type in your name and the city or the country you are from as well. Well, I'm going to jump right into it today. I have a very special guest. This individual I have so much respect for. Not only is he a professional athlete, he is someone who knows how to compete at the highest level, not only in sports, but in life as well. So when it comes to being a success and giving back and giving back in terms of philanthropy, it's something that we'll get into that a little later. You'll find out a little bit about that from him as well. And he is also the CEO of My Life, My Power. So, oh, one other thing, what I love about this individual is family is very important to him. So, yes, helping people is really important, but family is also very important. So, please help me welcome my great friend, Mr. Daniel Puder. Daniel, welcome, welcome.
Brother, thanks for having me on. I am excited about Landed for Success, volume number 3. This is really cool.
Yeah, before we get into that, Daniel, I do want to make an acknowledgement for your friends and my friends that are watching right now. For about 4, 5, 6 years, I recall Daniel when I was Daniel, we're launching Empowering Women to Succeed, or we're launching, 31 plus resilience stories for life that has to do with mental health, mental wellness. No matter what book I would launch, I would call Daniel because we need readers in the United States to go and download a copy of the book during our launch so we can actually hit #1 bestseller in Canada. And no matter how busy Daniel would be, he would say yes. And he would hop on a call with me like today, and we would have a conversation about our book. And then many of his friends would actually go to Amazon and buy a copy to help us out. And every year I would say, Daniel, would you like to be an author in one of our books? And he said no. And then finally he called and said, I would like to be an author in volume 3, Landed for Success. And I want to say this. I want to be able to say, congratulations, my friend, because you have now hit #1 bestseller in Canada. So you are now an international best-selling author. How does that sound?
It's pretty cool, bro. I like the number 3 too. I like the number 3 too. It's all right. 3, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah. So I'm just going to start off with this, and then we can jump right into it, Daniel. So if you guys are watching, do huge favor, you guys, huge favor. This time around, Daniel's helped us out so many times as a favor. If you're watching, you're a friend of mine, you're a friend of Daniel's. Daniel, please go to Amazon right now. Okay. If you guys jump off this Zoom or whatever it is, come back, this live stream, I won't be offended. Go and buy a copy. It's only 71 cents in the US, I think. Download a copy. The stories will blow you away. You will love and fall in love with the stories of each one of the individuals in the book. And please leave a 5-star review. Okay. There's 18 stories. You're going to fall in love with Daniel's story. If you're not ready to give us a 5-star review, don't give us a review at all. Wait till you read a story that deserves a 5. Because if there's anything else on there, I know where you guys live. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But honest 5-star review. So I'm going to jump right into with 3 categories today. Okay, Daniel, I know you as a professional badass fighter. That's one. Okay. But prior to that, you were this kid that you were telling me that hurt people. So that was that part of your life. And the professional athlete. And now today, as an international best-selling author. So I'd love for you to maybe share with my friends that are watching who don't know Daniel Puder, prior to you becoming a professional athlete, when you said to me, hurt people, what was the reason for you saying that? And what was it like for you growing up?
So I said it because nobody ever taught me this. In school, when I was picked on or bullied for being in the special ed classes, labeled learning disabled, they would say, oh, those people, just ignore them, or, oh, don't fight back, or whatever. But there was no like underlining understanding about why people, are hurting, why people are struggling, and then how do they take that out on other people.
Mm.
For instance, my son today came to work and he was playing, and I was on a phone call, and he wanted my attention. He's like, Papa, Papa, Papa. And then he throws a water. Like, he's like, he's almost 2.5 years old, right? But he throws water a couple feet, and then he picks another one up, throws it. And I get down and I'm like, hey, bud, do you want something? He's like, yeah. I'm like, do you want Papa to play with you? He's like, yes. And so if we get to that at an early age and we get people to understand that, definitely parents. I took him because my wife had some training stuff this morning. And when he comes in the office, we always play. But at the same time, he knows I have calls. So there's different times when we can recognize, like, when people really want, whether attention or love or connectivity or whatever that their longing is, and really support them. And then there's other times that we just let it go. And then a 2.5-year-old will grow up to be an 18-year-old with a bunch of anger because we leave them behind.
Wow. Now, your son, how old is he now?
He is 2 years and 4 months, so 28 months.
Wow. And I hear he's already bigger than me.
He's probably like 41 pounds. It's pretty cool.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
How does it feel to be a dad?
To feel it's really fun. The experience is amazing. I have grown. I get a reflection of things that I got when I was a kid, and then I add a lot onto it. I look at other parents and see how they spend quality time or don't with their kids. And it's really crazy on how my son, or my wife and our son, how he shows up in the world versus a lot of other kids. And not talking smack, but our son's pretty amazing. And we spend a lot of time with him. I think it's quality time.
Yes.
I've seen other people that throw kids in daycares and they come out like, 1-to-10 ratio or 1-to-7 or whatever it is. When we're getting a one-on-one with Montessori teachers and creative ability and learning, and then he plays with friends too. It's interesting. Like, the homeschool world was like this taboo thing, like 5-10 years ago, like, oh, those weird kids in homeschool.
Yes.
And today it's like, no, we want to teach our kids the best thing possible. And then there's other people. I just saw a video today. I got sent a video. My wife sent it to me. And this one teacher, I won't say where, but this one teacher's like, I have a master's degree. I should tell you parents what we should teach your kids.
Wow.
And so it's interesting on just dynamics and at the end of the day, if you're over 30 years old, I think under 30, there's a lot you can learn. But being over 30 years old, 40, 50, 60 years old, we have so much more life experience.
Yes.
And hopefully you've really started to understand your vision and purpose and, how do you build your life on what you want? If you haven't, read the book. That can definitely add value.
That's a nice little indirect way to say, go buy the book, you guys, before Daniel puts that hurt lock on you.
Here's the thing. For like 71 cents or 99 cents or whatever it is for an ebook, if you have a few hours of time and want to spend 71 cents, if you don't have 71 cents, email me, dp@mylifemypower.org, and I'll give you 71 cents to buy it.
That's
or
amazing.
99 cents.
Yeah.
But if you choose not to be resourceful, getting that $1, whatever it is, and spending a couple hours learning how to grow, it's crazy to be able to see how people might spend the money, but then they don't spend the time to learn it. Yeah. And I've done that too. One of my buddies came up with this thing. I know you've been around the world where you're with, like the Les Browns and all these big names, right? And my buddy did this study, this not study, it was a real experiment. He took like a 20 set DVD thing back in the day, and he only printed 2 or 3 of the DVDs or not DVDs, they're CDs with content. And people would go to the seminar, buy this thing, take it home, and after selling thousands of these, he got like 2 or 3 calls from people saying the third or fourth, whatever it was, DVD, CD didn't work.
Didn't work.
Because he only printed content on the first two.
Wow.
And they wanted to do this experiment over years, but the amount of people that actually didn't listen past two was like 99%.
Wow.
So it's interesting to see how people follow through. I mean, we have eight academies that take, challenge kids in their life, whether foster care or homeless or human trafficked or coming out of juvenile halls or, in a challenging family or, and being expelled or suspended, whatever those things are. We have a 97% graduation rate in high school.
That's incredible. I wish you were there when I was in school.
Me too.
I had a 49% average in English. Can you imagine? 49%. My last year in high school, Daniel, and the teacher gave me a 51. And so to this date, I don't know if she liked me or she just wanted to promote me out of the school, right? So I was going to ask you, we started off with, you talking about being bully when you're younger. And then now you've got all these schools that help kids that just don't fit the normal, traditional school. I was listening to an episode where somebody asked you about your first school in Florida. I don't know if you remember that interview, but I saw one of your interviews and they said something about maybe I'd like for you to talk more into it so the audience or friends could learn about it. Something about that school, the area. Some of those kids would be in jail. They'd be dead. They'd be. You remember that interview? Like that's
you know what? I don't. I've had so many. But yeah, it's crazy, right? I mean, they would be. They like a lot of our kids today. They wouldn't be. They would be in a really bad situation if they didn't have a high school diploma and then mindset training and good people in their life.
They'd be kind of like the misfits. That people, they think they're misfits and people are just we're letting our kids down.
Yeah.
Those kids are being let down. So what inspired you to start these academies?
So very little people are doing it. Like we have 3% of the world in the United States of America. We have 3% of the world's population and 25% of the world's prison population.
Wow.
So, we're number one in military spending. We're number 20 something, 30, whatever it is in education and reading and math. But we're number one in the ability to, if you have a will, there's a way in this country to get where you want to go financially. We have all the resources there are. I mean, I've been to India, to St. Kitts and Dharamshala, where Dalai Lama lives. I've been to Japan. I've been to Peru. I've been to Mexico with President Vicente Fox. I've been to so many places, wealthy and starving.
Wow.
And when I was in India, in St. Kitts, I walked into a bank one day and there was zero money in the bank. And I'm like, I don't understand. Zero money. And the manager brings me into his room and he starts talking to me. And I'm like, there's no money here? I'm confused about this. Zero money. It's insane. Wow. If we did that here in America, and I've seen some videos lately, which is pretty crazy, but if we did that, people would riot. People would go crazy.
Absolutely.
So it's just very interesting to be able to see, we started this to transform the next generation.
Yes.
And I don't see that happening in other systems. And some systems are locked because of policy. Some systems, we have the resources, but I think it comes down to the mindset and the culture.
What's different about your schools versus a traditional school?
So for me, it's 3 points. One, we teach people how to learn. Okay. I don't care about the content personally. Obviously, they get to go through math, science, history, reading. They get to learn the basic foundational pieces. But learning how to learn, for me, is one of the deepest fundamentals, period, hands down. Second one is networking. That's key to life success. If you don't have your network, is your net worth.
Wow.
Whether financial.
Say that again.
Your network is your net worth.
Wow.
But people think financial. To me, worth is not necessarily financial. Could be health. I mean, like my dad had a stroke like 6 weeks ago, right? It could be health wise, right? Like, are you in good health? Do you have good friends? Are you physically fit? Do you have a couple bucks in your bank account? Like if you're going to hang out at the gym for 4 or 5 hours a day, you should probably be in shape.
Wow.
But if you hang out at the gym for 4 hours a day and then go eat deep fried buns like at the wherever, you know, and a bunch of ice cream, you might not be in that good a shape.
Okay, look, I knew I was going to hop on a call with you, so I actually rode my bike for 20 minutes. You got to be proud of me. I rode my bike for 20 minutes, make sure I was in shape. Dan, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but a good friend of mine, Patricia's here, and you mentioned about trafficking earlier and what you're doing. So many amazing things. So Patricia is a co-author with you in the book, and she's built homes for women who are homeless, women's shelters. And one of the things she does that I love in terms of trafficking, and this is right here at home, it's in our own backyard, right? It's not in some third world country that everyone rushes off to. I hope, Patricia, you don't mind me sharing the story, Daniel. You would love it because, you know, I never swear, but use the word like Daniel is that badass fighter, right? I've seen situations where kids are in trouble and they're waiting for whoever it is sitting on their hands to shuffle paperwork and the kid's in trouble. I've seen Patricia call her friends, and maybe the most political way to say it is these guys will hop. They're part of a motorcycle club, which is used the word motorcycle club. And they will actually hop on a bike with her and go pick up the kid to make sure that child is actually out of harm's way.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible, right? Like they're still good people. Sometimes I think like there's just so many rotten people around, but there's still really good people around.
Yeah, I believe there are. And I believe there are some not so good people. So, you know, I mean, I've seen both worlds. So that's a whole different conversation there.
A different conversation, yes. Okay, so getting back to the school, I saw somewhere one of your videos. I don't know where, but I think you're talking about how some of these kids are actually learning how to be an entrepreneur while they're at school as well.
Yeah, we have an entrepreneurship class for all of our schools. This year was all online, and it was great. CEO and we had another teacher run students through, and it was amazing to be able to see, you know, just mindset and, you know, how some kids responded, how some didn't respond. I think that most people don't understand the hardship that entrepreneurs go through on a daily basis to create results.
Wow. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
So it's not easy. You know this. Like it's very difficult. You just don't get a paycheck. You have to make profit besides everybody you pay, besides your hard costs, besides your expenses and your travel to then pay you.
Yeah.
So most entrepreneurs are like, oh, I made some profit on this one. I'm going to go, you know, spend it. And it's like, whoa, hold on a second. Let's talk about what are the things you would rather do. Like if you're only selling X amount, do you want to invest in inventory? Do you want to invest in another person to grow your, like people don't understand, like there's big minds and like the macro side of it, but then so many people think very, very, very small. And this micro side is like, what do I want to do today to fulfill myself? The best, I believe, entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs who have patience, strategic patience. Because I've heard people say, no, you should not have patience, period. I think there's very strategic patience to be able to create a result, open up the right doors, sell a product, enroll people, you know, grow, whatever that is. And, you know, we've gone from, in 5 years, we've gone from 5 partners starting this and to, we have over 80 staff now. And
that's incredible.
We have almost 1,100 students. Next year, we're probably going to go to like 25 to 3,000 students because of some of the deals we're putting together.
That's absolutely incredible. You know, Daniel, Atlanta for Success, my business partner, Jay, has been taking on interns from local colleges. So we have had dozens and dozens of students that have done internships with us. And the skill sets that they bring and what they're learning is absolutely incredible. And Jay's worked with a number of high school students here as well. So I thought I'd just throw that out for you. If you have any of your students that would like to learn, that would want to do some internship with us and perhaps learn digital marketing, entrepreneurship, how to start creating income online, I would love to perhaps have a conversation with you on that. Just want to acknowledge some of the folks who are here. Someone typed a 1, so they're here for the first time. I can't see your name, but thank you for being here. And I see Lester Bailey. This individual is a co-author with Daniel as well. He's protected 2 U.S. presidents. He's protected governors. I mean, this guy is absolutely incredible. So when I go to Nigeria, you know Daniel and Lester is going to be my bodyguards.
Whole different thing. Is he in Nigeria?
No, he's actually he's from Chicago in Phoenix, but we do have a major school in Nigeria that wants us to come and do some training over there. So yeah, awesome. Yeah. Now, before we talk about the book, I know you're extremely busy and we'll wrap up here. I'm a big wrestling fan. The minute we moved here, we had a black and white TV. You guys remember black and white TV? I woke up my first morning in Canada watching Bugs Bunny.
Nice.
And Flash Gordon. So you can imagine, so you know where my name came from now. And the one thing my parents watched religiously was wrestling. I would watch Bret Hart on TV every Saturday, like Maple Leaf Wrestling. I'm a huge wrestling fan. So awesome. Is it true that you really won the $1 million prize at WWE's Tough Enough?
Well, if you can see behind me, it's all the stuff, some of the stuff I've done. Yeah, I mean, it was great being on SmackDown. It was awesome, being the $1 million Tough Enough champion. I think that there's a lot of added value. I mean, I grew a ton in a year, and I absolutely love what I was able to do. I mean, it's a world that I wouldn't have gotten without, being in WWE, being on SmackDown, winning $1 million Tough Enough championship. It was one of the biggest blessings in my life.
The one match I always wanted to see was you and John Cena.
That would have been cool.
Wouldn't that have been cool?
Yes.
Right? I think he saw you coming, so he retired.
Well, at the end of the day, he had the same mentor that I did to get into the wrestling world. So it's Ed Connors. He just came out with his book. He actually wrote about me in his book, which was really cool. And it's it's a really unique world on how people mentor people, how they grow. And he had over 600 house guests in his different homes. He was one of the founders of Gold's Gym.
Wow.
He took Gold's Gym. He did the whole. Mr. Gold actually founded it, but he took it all on a franchise. So pretty cool stuff, and he changed a lot of lives. It's really awesome to be able to see what's possible.
Well, that's incredible. Incredible. Now I'm going to switch to the book for a minute. Before the book, I saw your picture in your Facebook group, on your Facebook page, the Dalai Lama, and JB Owen, who's also an author with you in Volume 3. She was just in India with a group that visited the Dalai Lama. They're actually going back for another visit. And right now in India, Land for Success is tracking a 189 in ranking. So our goal is to drive Land for Success India to #1 as well. So if you guys are watching and you have friends in India and one day you want to go to India with Daniel, myself, Jay, and the team and visit the Dalai Lama, that's an incredible possibility. But in the meantime, Land for Success, this is what the book looks like. It's if you go to Land for Success, or if you go to Amazon, okay, the third book, it's a red color. Okay, so make sure you buy the third book. Daniel, share with us maybe very quickly, what made you decide to finally share your story, like just short story in our Land for Success series?
I mean, it's first of all, you kicking my ass to do it.
I don't think I think you could break me with you could break me in half with with 2 fingers. God.
So you're very persuasive, but I believe the biggest thing for me was, how do I add value? I'm writing a couple books right now, but how do I add value to the world? How do I look at, this as a real big purpose project with other authors? And I think that what you're building is a culture of authors that are like-minded, they care, and that are focused on creating results in this world. And telling little stories versus bigger stories add a lot of value to each one of them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so for some of my friends that are watching or folks that know you, what do you want to tell them right now about in terms of going to Amazon and grabbing a copy of the book?
Yeah, I mean, biggest thing is this: if you want to add value to your life, you can sit there and watch a TV show on Netflix tonight, or you can actually learn something new, maybe about yourself. Not saying that Netflix won't do that, but I find that if you spend a couple hours with yourself, your son, your daughter, like Conrad hears a bunch of my stuff. Actually, my son has business cards now. This is his business card.
I love it.
So it says president in training.
I love it. President in training.
Right. So he hands them out.
I need those for my grandchildren.
So it's great, right? Like, because he goes into rooms, like, add value to the world. Like, read through this. Doesn't have to be the whole thing, but pick a story every once a week with your wife or your significant other or whoever that is in your life, or by yourself, and utilize a couple of the things that add value to your purpose in life. Wow. Deanna and I just got a really cool card deck. My wife and I we got like 5. I ordered like 5 of them on the relationship. So it's like these questions we ask each other, and we spent a day on the water just going back and forth. Not a day, but it was a couple hours, just doing this. And so it's interesting I think, what connects you to this world. And if you're learning online, I love watching like TikTok short videos. I learn a lot because of what I search for. And this is about becoming the best version of yourself.
Wow. I love that. Becoming the best version of yourself. Love it.
Yep.
And do you think you have now become the best version of yourself?
I am the best version of myself right now. Not saying I can't add more value later on.
Amazing. So what would you
I think there's a growth mindset that I have that continues to grow, and it will never stop, because it's not about my ego. It's not about me being. Here's the difference. I find a lot of people, not talking smack, but a lot of people that are PhDs that I've met now think that they know everything.
Yeah.
And every single black belt martial artist, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th degree that I've met says, I now know a lot more, but I know that I don't even know that much anymore.
Wow.
Because there's so much out there.
Yeah. Listen, Daniel, somebody named Deanna Pinto just said, great job, my love. Deanna, thank you. Thank you.
That's my wife.
I know. Thank you, Deanna. And Patricia says, how long has Daniel been married? And love that card idea.
So we've been together almost 4 years this year. And we had a great wedding last year in 2022. It was 12/12/2022.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And somebody, Patricia says, love what you're doing. Somebody said, Pamela Geiger. Oh, you would love Pamela Geiger Park story. Dan, you need to have a conversation with Pamela. What about your retirement? She says.
What retirement?
That's what I'm thinking. What retirement?
So I mean, here's the thing. I like retiring. I think is for dying, right? Like, I mean, I think people like in their careers, retiring out of my first career was great. I wanted out. I didn't want to get punched in the face anymore. And then I retired out of my second career. My first was MMA. My second was wrestling. Then I went back to fighting, which was crazy. And then I got out of that. I kind of went back and forth for a little bit. But it was the best thing, starting a nonprofit and then starting our for-profit school system. transforming lives. And I'll be doing this till I'm 100, 20, 200 years old, whatever I can get there. It'll be fun.
I absolutely can see that. Absolutely. So Daniel, before we go, what are your final thoughts? If someone, again, is watching right now, and I want to maybe frame it this way. If somebody's watching, they're thinking, okay, landed for success. If someone is still struggling to land for success, what would you say to them right now?
What do you value more, purpose or profit? And either way, you can learn from this book. But if you always want to chase something that you'll never get fulfilled, go after profit. If you want to become fulfilled and be as complete as possible internally in your mind, your heart, your soul, spirit, then go after purpose.
Wow. And what's your definition of purpose?
Purpose is the why. Purpose is the impact. Purpose is the creation of adding value to this world. And it could be, you could work at McDonald's and have a huge purpose of serving 1,000 clients a day, right? But if you're doing it for the money, the profit side of it, and you want to just buy bigger and better and more, you'll never, ever, ever get more. Enough. You'll get more, but you won't get enough, because more will still not be enough.
Wow. That is such great.
I mean, we just did a deal with Mike Tyson. So this is our school. We haven't announced it actually. So I'll just say it here.
Okay.
So it's our Tyson Transformational Technologies Academy. We're launching this school this August. And it's just crazy because he like I've sat with him a couple times now, and to be able to spend time with him where he's super authentic and vulnerable. He's like, I had everything. He had big animals. He had pigeons. He loves his pigeons. He still has some. He had every car you could want. He had everything.
Wow.
But he still didn't have himself. And he talks about it. I mean, watch his HBO special. And people will see a lot of content that we're going to create with kids and him, where he's super authentic and where he's going with his life. And it's perfect example to be able to add value because he is one of the kids that would have been our school.
That's incredible. So you're talking about Mike Tyson, the guy that was just an Ip Man 4. Ip Man. You ever seen Ip Man?
No. But the boxer. He's the best boxer in the world. Yeah.
Well, Donnie Yen, in my opinion, is probably the #1 martial artist in the world. He's a movie star, and Tyson was actually, I think he portrayed a bad guy in the movie Ip Man, right? So Ip Man's the guy who trained in real life Bruce Lee.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, Daniel, I know you've given us more time than I've expected because you're extremely busy. When you brought up Mike Tyson, I'm going to share a thought with you. I don't know if I can actually get away with saying this on here, but a good friend of mine is now back in Singapore, and they do white collar boxing. I'm not sure if you heard of white collar boxing, but he was a student here. Went home to Singapore, flat broke, couldn't even find a job. And then a friend got him a job at a bank, and he became their chief, not financial, but chief technical officer, I think CTO. But he quit because it wasn't his purpose in life, like what you talked about, purpose. So he started a little financial services company. And I remember when I said, what do you do? He said, well, we go into people's home and do wills. That's kind of how he started. Well, his company, the wealthiest man in Hong Kong, just bought 49% of his company. But they do something, Daniel, called white collar boxing, where a lot of the guys, like expats who live there, they train for 2 or 3 months, and they literally get in a ring. And as the participants are all in black tie, right? Affair. Companies like Goldman will sponsor it.
Yeah.
And these guys will get in there, actually box, and they have donated about $6 to $7 million to children's clinics, and I believe Cambodia, one of those countries. So when I mentioned it earlier, one of the insurance companies that I had mentioned your name as a mix as a speaker, ironically enough, that's actually their organization.
That's really cool.
Right? So maybe there'll be a tied in with your academy, with your maybe somebody like, I don't know, right? But
we want to do schools in other countries too. We're working on a couple right now. So as we're definitely open, and I would love to explore that.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you to all my friends, your friends who are watching right now. Mr. Daniel Puder, WWE $1 million prize winner, is now, even better title, in my opinion, CEO, My Life, My Power. But he's now an international best-selling author. And if you guys help purchase a copy in the United States, up here at home in Canada, we're such a small fish. Like, we get to number one just like that because it's just a small community. But if you live in the US, you guys, go buy a copy. Go buy a copy today. Read it, okay? Make sure you read it. The stories are very powerful. The testimonials, like the 5-star reviews you see on there already, is absolutely incredible. Buy it, read it, and please leave a 5-star review. Daniel, any final thoughts or closing remarks from you?
I appreciate it, bro. Your friendship has been amazing. Thank you for everything.
Likewise. Thank you so much. And tell Cial she's been amazing helping to organize your schedule. I know it's extremely busy. And I'd like to be what did you call it, Conrad? Was president in training?
Yeah, president in training.
All right. I'd like to get one of those cards. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Daniel.
Have a blessed day, brother. Thank you so much.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.